We should be back now with a decent frame rate. Yes, we're back. Hopefully we're live. Now, before we get started, let's have a sip of beer. Right, so this was our budget PC that we built just before Christmas. It's a budget gaming PC. There's like an AMD FX 8350 in there, there's 16 gig of RAM, and there's a GTX 1050. Now, the issue with the GTX 1050, I don't know. There's all sorts of strangeness going on with it. So there was all sorts of weirdness going on with it. So what we've done is I tried DDUing the drivers, as well as DDUing the drivers. Then I tried to reinstall known drivers, change the PCI slot, and just for some strange reason that wasn't working for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to open this bad boy up. We're going to take the graphics card out. We've bought another little budget card. It's not as good as the one that's in there. That's a GTX 1050. This is an RX 550. It's a super budget card, but I reckon we could pop this guy into here, get this hooked up to my streaming capture card, and we should be able to do some benchmarking on it, and some stress testing and all that sort of stuff. And I can show you how to uninstall drivers and DDU them so they're completely nuked off the machine, and then install the new one, and that should actually work. So let's go ahead and get this side panel off. So let's get the side panel off. I'm going to leave it on the couch for today. I won't damage the glass. So you get the side panel off. See, the camera angle's all right. You can see inside. You can see inside. Awesome. So let's unplug this guy and let's unscrew the two screws that are holding the graphics card in. Yeah, one screw. Two screws. So yeah, the plan was to get this all up and on Facebook Market just before Christmas for some emergency January money, but as it happened, I could not get this card to work for me for the life of me, and I only just had bought the streaming capture card. I would have streamed all of the... That's it. That's the offending item. I said, it looks absolutely brand spanking new. I said, my sister only used it for a few months before her PC clocked it. So it's either when her PC went out, it took out the graphics card with it, or there's something wrong with the PCI slots on that. Now, I have troubleshot that slot up the top there with something a little bit more beefy. I had thrown in my trusty tester card. So this is as old as the hills. It's a GT310. There's like 64 megs of VRAM on it. It's got a DVI port, a Triceratops port, and HDMI. So I've popped that into it, and I can get a display out, and I can install correct drivers. So I don't actually think it was the motherboard, which was my first inkling, because that's an awful lot older than that graphics card. So we have troubleshot it, so we know that this machine can work. It's just this card won't do anything with it. There's no point sending this off of this. This card would actually slow down graphics, so we won't pop that in. So let's get our 2GB RX 550 out. So this was an eBay purchase. It was like 80 quid. It's not the greatest of cards at all. It's like literally just a step up above integrated Vega graphics, but that doesn't have an integrated iGPU, and the North-South bridge doesn't have graphics accelerating on it either. On the FX 990 boards, they don't actually come with graphics adapters, which is just super annoying. So when we were troubleshooting it, was all sorts of problems. So let's get this little fella in. So yeah, we're just aiming for the top PCI slot. On this board, it actually doesn't really matter. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, and all 4 of those lanes are 16 lanes. So you could technically put it into any of these, but usually you will put it into the top slot because it's normally the one with the most bandwidth in it, and also the lanes normally connect directly to the CPU. They don't go to the chipset. So there's like a little chip here, and there should be a chip up here somewhere, and they're the north and south bridges. And they give additional input and output and additional data lanes, and all of these other lanes usually route through this they don't go directly to the CPU. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to pop this guy in, which is much easier to do on the flat, but for the sake of showing it to the camera, we'll try and pop it in this way. So I'll try not to break anything. I believe we're in. Now, you know your card's cheap, but it doesn't require supplemental PC power, so if this gets up and running, what we'll do is we'll remove this cable from the back here, and this is actually a cable tray. There's a cable bunched up there, so we'll remove this so there's no random cables just sticking out of it. So we've got it in. I'll just make sure that it's clasped in fully. Yes, it has. Shall we screw it in now? Yeah, sure, why not? Let's pop the 2 screws in and get her done. Let's get this fella up and in. One screw. And for our second screw. So yeah, this was supposed to be just a little PC that we would flip just around the Christmas time in case something went awry and we needed some extra funds. But the plan will be that I will try and do some tech related streams. I'm going to aim to do one a week, maybe Saturday or Sunday, and the plan will be that one will be a budget PC build where we'll look online, we'll try and price out some cheap bits and pieces, put together a gaming system, flip it. The profits of that will go back into this stream that we'll try and improve things like the streaming capture card that I bought before Christmas, anything additional like that, maybe some nice artwork, that type of thing. So we'll do that once a month. Another time a month then we might do something like some benchmarking. So the next stream I'm planning to do is I'm going to hook up my main PC to the streaming capture card, and I will route that through my laptop, and then we'll stream through the laptop and we'll be able to do some overclocking and see if we can hit some really high up overclocking numbers. So the last time I've done some overclocking on the CPU and the graphics card, I was able to get it into the top 1% of benchmark results for the hardware that I own. So we'll see if we can do better the next time around. So we'll give it some Hail Marys, and you'll be able to see it all through the capture device. So if we black screen or anything like that, you'll see it. So there won't be any issues there. So this guy is all plugged in. The good news is today we are fully set up for another PC. So I should be able to pop this in. I have a HDMI lead here. We plug this in. This is going straight into my capture card. And then from the capture card, it's going into my PC. So when I plug this up to a monitor, which I have up here, I'm going to bring it down now. When I plug it into the monitor, we should be able to see if it's up and running. So let's see. So that's our cable. Let's get our keyboard and mouse in. So, keyboard, mouse. Hey, Phoenix. So what we've done, Phoenix, I don't know how long you've been here, is we've taken the offending graphics card out of this machine here, and we've put in a more budget orientated card that we picked up on eBay. We're now just going to hook this up to a monitor, which is here. I'm going to drop this down here, and through my streaming capture card, we're going to change scenes, and you're going to see me DDU the existing NVIDIA drivers on this because the new card is an AMD one, and then B, we're going to stress test and benchmark this fella. So hopefully the changes we've made have worked. So we'll find out fairly sharpish. So to plug in a mouse and keyboard, let's get a mouse and keyboard in. So mouse, keyboard. Cheapest of the cheap keyboards. It's just like tester one. Hey Crimp, how are you? I don't know if you caught my little recap to Phoenix, so we're just discussing what we're going to do. So I've already swapped out the graphics card just in this on the stream, and the GTX 1050, this fella here, was playing up. Every time I installed the correct drivers, it would actually just make a dump noise, and it would purple screen, which is a weird one. So I could not get this for the life of me to work. I don't know why. So I've bought a replacement card. It's a super cheap one. It's a little bit better than the Vega integrated graphics on an APU. So we've picked up this little fella for 80 quid on eBay, and this will go in. Brilliant, brilliant, Ferg. It's great to hear that the laptop is working. So let's get the keyboard plugged in, and then what we should be able to do is I should have an internet connection here from my actual internet, so we're not streaming this off the phone. So let's plug in the internet into this guy. Yeah, this little fella should be all set up. So let us set up the keyboard, mouse. Let's drop down this monitor, and if I've done this correctly, we will change scenes shortly, and you will be able to see this fella live. We hope. Power button, pro, absolute pro. Now, this powers up. We should see it. So, absolutely nothing could go wrong with this stream. I've only tested it on my on one of my old retro consoles. I have not tested it yet on this machine. So, we will now find out if it works. So let's change scenes. Can you hear me now? And which device is that though? That's the thing. Is that my mic? Yeah. Can you hear me now? Awesome. Right, so this is now timed out. So you might have to do that again. So yeah. Awesome. So yeah, so that's probably when I changed stream. So basically what we've done is we've hooked this fella up to our keyboard and mouse. Awesome. So hopefully this loads up now again. We want to go into advanced startup on this. We're going to go to let's see, no, it's going to go in. So we need to boot into safe mode on this machine. And once we boot into safe mode, we're going to DDU the drivers for, yeah, it's not done it. So we'll DDU the drivers for this, and once we've DDU'd the drivers, we'll install the new Radeon drivers, and then fingers crossed, then we can do some benchmarking on it. But the good news is, new card is posted, absolutely no issues, which is super, super important. So we do it again. So if we go to recovery, go to recovery options, go to advanced startup here and restart now. So this should give us our options then to boot into safe mode. Fingers crossed. This is all stuff I've done before, by the way, but I normally don't do tutorials, so I normally just fumble my way through it. So troubleshoot, and then we go to advanced options, and then if we go to startup settings to change Windows startup behavior. So this fella here, once we click restart, this should give us safe mode. So we click restart, and fingers crossed now, we'll be in. So yeah, this is my pro setup. My PC is right here, and then this budget piece of malarkey is here, and then my streaming capture card is literally going all the way over here and into the USB ports up here. So it's all pro setup. So we want to enable safe boot with networking, so 5. Unless I was too slow again and it's booted back in because I was talking and dilly-dallying. I did not like that little flash. You see the little blue flicker up the top? That could be because the driver isn't installed, or it could be because there's something borked on this motherboard. If the motherboard is borked, by the way, I do have a backup. Not that board though. I've got next month's budget, this month's budget PC build. I've got some of it here, and I could just literally transplant it into this and then sell that instead, and then throw that board at somebody like a frisbee. Good dilly dally. Yes, we're now in. We're into safe mode by the looks of it. We know it's safe mode because Microsoft support has now launched on Bing. Yes, binging the interwebs. Close. So we're in safe mode. So when you're quite ready, safe mode, I don't need Microsoft's help. Somebody tell Microsoft that. Unless I've gone into a wrong option here. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, cool. Absolutely awesome. Deadly. Windows 10. Amazing. I've gone into some weird option here. What in the name of... Holy Mary, Mother of Josie. Right. Task manager. What the hell is going on here? End task. End task. End process. I don't know what's going on here, boys. Right. Let's try this again. I might have picked some sort of weird options here because I was dilly-dallying. We're just going to go into just standard safe mode and then try it, because that's weird, like really weird. Let's have a beer, that'll make it better. Let's launch it to everyone that's joined, by the way. Right, let's try this one more time. Recovery options, advanced startup, restart now. It's a good thing I don't do this for a living and work in IT. Advanced options, startup settings. Right, let's just enable safe mode, vanilla safe mode, no networking, and we'll see what it does. Which I think is option 4, but let's double check it and let's not flim-flam around this time. Should get paid by Acer for this. Right, yeah, enable safe mode 4. Right, so this should be just vanilla safe mode with no networking. Yay, perfect. So, in useful tools here, we should have. Right, we've got Cinebench, CPU Z, and I haven't, no, we don't have it installed, do we? Downloads. CPU Z. I thought I had this installed yet. There we go, Guru 3D DDU. So this is the program here, and Guru 3D DDU. Literally, if you just Google graphics drivers DDU, you should find this on Guru 3D. And if we launch this fella, no, it's not in here. Yeah. So display driver uninstaller. That's what DDU stands for. So if you run this fella as administrator, now this is the program here. So it's a little bit of a pain in the arse, but if we go select device type and we go to GPU, and then we go to NVIDIA, because the previous GPU that was installed in this was NVIDIA, once we click clean and restart, this should physically nuke whatever drivers are already on here from NVIDIA, and then we should be able to install clean drivers for the Radeon card. So let's try that. Clean and restart. So you can see it here. It's uninstalling the driver, executing API removals, set up API removal audio controller. So anything related to NVIDIA that card had is literally gone now. So now let's drive it, start with the removal of the NVIDIA options. So all of that's going, set up APIs, complete. So that is a really, really, really powerful tool. When anyone's having anything spoopy happening with the graphics card, the first thing I would tell them to do is install DDU, boot into safe mode, kill the drivers, then do a full clean install of the new drivers, and it works. If you're swapping out graphics cards out of machines as well, so say you've got a 1060 and you've after somehow winning the lotto and getting your hands on a 3080 or whatever, the first thing you should do is DDU the drivers off and then boot into Windows and then install a clean install of NVIDIA, because sometimes you get like legacy bits and pieces hanging around, and that will cause issues, dropped frames, terrible 0.1% lows in games and stuff like that. So just kill it and clean install. Works 95% of the time. That's how I know I feel this fella is borked, because I've done that. Now I've still got a couple of tricks up my sleeve to get this working, and in this month's budget PC we will be carrying over this fella into it, but unfortunately for this one I don't think it's going to work. So there are a couple of limitations with this older machine. So the likes of this machine is only PCIe 2.0. This is a PCIe 3.0 card, so that could be one of the issues. But what we're going to do is we're going to possibly make a stream out of getting that working. I'm going to take it apart, we're going to repaste it, we're going to put it together, we'll inspect the board to see if there's any charring or scoring or anything that's become broken on it. I'm not good enough to fix that, but what we can do is if there's nothing wrong with the board, if it all looks perfect, we'll give it a clean, repaste it, and pop it into this month's budget machine. And what we should be able to do is I'll show you how to flash a video BIOS onto this, so a VBIOS onto a graphics card. I should be able to show you how to do that. I learned how to do that only about a month ago, so it was something that I knew about, and I only learned how to do it about a month ago, so I can show you how to do that too. So anyway, now we're back into our desktop. So we should have no NVIDIA drivers installed, so we just need to install the correct Radeon drivers for this. So if we delete Chrome and we go RX 5500 drivers. Yeah, so drivers and support. Windows 10, 64-bit edition. Adrenaline download now. I am not a robot. Oh, stairs. Right, let's see. Do we want to play this together, everybody? Bottom right. Middle. Bottom. Top right. And I don't see any more stairs. So let's see. Can I confirm that I am not a robot? It was just a sign for that. It's nonsense. Right. Downloads. Yep, so we just have to wait. So, wonder why I stream off my mobile phone as opposed to my internet connection. There you go. What are we getting there? A whopping 85. Is it? Is it even worse? Can't even see it. Sorry, cursor's over it. Yeah, we're getting 1,000 kilobytes per second download. It's fucking stellar. Oh wait, it's not stellar. It's fine again. Hey. Ba-dum-ts. And so if I was thinking, what I would have done is I would have downloaded this in advance on my main PC and then tweaked it over, but yeah, you live and learn. How are we into that? Jesus. You wonder why I get frustrated with my internet. It's perfectly stable connection wise, but then you try and download something that's only that, and it just takes for bleeding ever. Let's just make sure everything's good there. Yeah. I also got an email off work saying that the website was playing up, but I've checked the website and it's fine, so I've let somebody else deal with it. So if I do get a phone call, I will have to dash, and that's because work pays the bills. the meantime, do you want a preview of this month's budget build? What have you got down here? David's secret box of things. VGA power supply. MSI motherboard. Ryzen 5 processor. I do have a heatsink for it in the bench there as well. So all we need is a case, an SSD, and if we can get this fella to work, we will have another budget PC to build for this month. And hopefully then, when we flip this, the proceeds of this will pay for the case, the SSD, the motherboard with a little bit of change left over, and that's how we're going to move it. So once a month we're going to do a budget build. We're going to flip it on Facebook Market and eBay, and that's going to pay for the next month's build. A small bit of profit that I'll pump back into this, so whether it be a new streaming capture card or some nice artwork for the background or whatever, we'll try and put the profits of anything that we put together, we'll try and throw it into continuing on with the stream. So the next stream, as I said earlier, will be next Saturday hopefully, or Sunday, and it will just be me hooked up to the streaming capture card on the main PC, and we're going to be doing some undervolting on a Ryzen processor, and we're going to do some overclocking on the graphics card, and we're going to see if we can get into the top 1 percentile of scores for time SPI and stuff like that. We ain't doing it with this machine, I'm afraid. With the hardware that's there, we could probably do Firestrike or something like that and see if we could overclock the fuck out of this. But seeing as we want to flip this to fund the rest of our fun for the rest of the month, let's get this working before we do it. Once we get it working, we'll stress test the hell out of it and make sure that it's all up and working correctly. So I was also playing for time there, but as you can see, it's still bloody downloading. Can nearly pop out for a fag and come back, but we don't promote cigarettes on this channel. Yeah, while we're stalling for time, actually, what do you make of the t-shirt? It was a birthday present off one of my mates last year. It's got all my favourite Decepticons on it, with the exception of Galvatron. So we've got Megatron, Starscream, Soundwave, and that up there is Grimlock. For some strange reason, they have an Autobot on a Decepticons t-shirt. I don't know why. Well, if you're wondering where you've seen that logo before as well, I also have that logo right there. So just wait a second. Let me just hand crank this to get it working. It says it's got 2 minutes left, so if you need to go and stick on the kettle or whatever for 2 minutes, do. Say nothing. Holy jeez, just so slow. Oh, so slow. Why are you so slow? I'll be bloody pissed by the time this weekend downloads. The good news is all the other stuff I have pre-installed on this, But obviously I didn't expect the graphics card not to work in this, so that was the big thing. So now that we've swapped out the graphics card to our lovely little budget RX 5500, we'll see if we can actually post some benchmarking on this. Because I mean that's the most important thing, is that it's actually, you know, fit for purpose. We'll whip open MSI Afterburner first as well. Well, midway through it, so there we go. So let's hopefully get this working. Yes. Yeah, so nothing overly elaborate here. We're just literally installing the Radeon drivers. This is where it was all going Pete Tong with the card we took out. So as soon as we installed the GeForce drivers for this card, it was posting a signal absolutely fine. But as soon as we installed the GeForce drivers for this, we heard a and then screen purple, and then it wouldn't post at all. The only time I got this to work with the drivers was I put this into the second slot and my tester card up above it, and installed all the drivers on this from the tester card, and then restarted and whipped out the other card, and it worked, and it posted once, and I was able to benchmark it. I was able to play around with an MSI Afterburner, and I powered it off and it just still wouldn't power up the second time round. So I probably cheated it into working, which leads me to believe that it's perfectly functional. There's just something either wrong with the VBIOS on it, or there's something on the PCI slots on this fella here that just does not like this card. So that's why we're not going to give up on this. We're going to try it in this month's build. Hopefully it works, and now that I've got the stream and capture card, we'll be able to show you it working, rather than just kind of go, oh yeah, here's a machine built, no issues, no software issues, see you now, good luck, bye. So we'll be able to take it a little step further and do some bits and pieces with it. So let's put that back down. Okay, so there we are, version 1.222, install. We go to additional options and see if there's anything in there. Full type install, C programs AMD, factory reset optional. Factory reset will remove. So this is another thing that people don't see, especially with NVIDIA. If you go to install options, you will see the factory reset option there, and that's a much cleaner way of doing your updates on drivers. So when you get the flash ping, new driver available, and you download it, and then you just go next finish, and then you go, oh, I've got all of these problems, what the hell's going wrong with my machine? If you literally just go to additional options and click factory reset, that will make sure that the previous versions of drivers are completely removed. We don't need to do it in this case because we've already DDU'd the NVIDIA drivers, so we're just going to click install. But yeah, especially with NVIDIA ones, if you can click, oh wait a second, you can't see that option, can you? Can you? Yeah, you can. So yeah, if you toggle that on, go to advanced options and toggle factory reset on NVIDIA ones, it makes sure that you don't get those silly issues where, oh, it's flickering or my screen goes white every so often. A factory reset version will always make sure that that doesn't happen. Let's click install. Our device may flicker during install. Let's hope it doesn't. So yeah, this should install, and we should see that. It might ask us to restart the machine. If it does, no big deal. Once that's installed, then we'll whip open MSI Afterburner. We can see if we can do a bit of tweaking there. Adrenaline, I'm not as familiar with as I am with NVIDIA Control Panel, but allegedly it's much more intuitive to play around with. So we'll see if we can tweak in the driver itself and fix it. Now, that is much further than we got with the GTX 1050. At this point, it would just literally blow up, so that is good. But my capture card has now gone down, so let's see. Can we fix it? I'm assuming it's just a matter of plug it out and then plug it back in. Messy, messy, messy. So I can confirm that it's working fine. The only issue is, I think it's because the signal has changed from 720p to 1080p when the driver was installed. So we think it's just spazzed out a little bit. Hopefully now it works. There we go. It did work. Things you learn. That is working fine on my screen. So it goes capture card, it goes capture card PC, capture card this screen. I can see it here, but it's not showing up on there. So let's just do one last thing. Let's just do a restart. And now hopefully when this comes back on, you'll be able to see it. If it doesn't, I'll be mighty annoyed. This all looks good, but then it boots into Windows and then all of a sudden it's black screened. Only on that, but not on this. I can see it perfectly. Yeah, see? Working. Yay! But it's working here, but now look, it's gone blank again there. I think there's something in this video capture device's issues. Why is it gone black? That is just so annoying. It's literally posted here. I can show you it's posted, but I'm not imagining that, by the way. Yeah, so let's see. That's scene 1, and if we go back to scene 2, yeah, it's not working. Yay! My knowledge of things works. No, and then it goes again. Why is it doing that? That is so annoying. To find out why. What's it called? It's XOR1. That's just so annoying. We will find out how to do this.
Cross. Hey, cross. Oh, I did. Oh my god!
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Nate King K, aka Sean, and I'm gonna show you how to get your GA XR going directly to black screen or anything. So, I don't know why it makes a difference.
Who's watching?
Now you're gonna go to settings, which I already have set up, and you are literally gonna turn it on to any. That is literally it. Right? XR1, you know, you could turn it, you could have it go to each side, or control the volume when you have your headset plugged in right here. And that's the VGA. So it works, so give it a try. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.
No, that did not work. It's just not working. I'm just so annoyed. That is just really annoying. And if I'd have had this issue in the past, because it's brand bloody new, I would tell you. So what we might do is let's just try. Deleting this altogether. Remove. Add a capture device. You see it there? It picks it up and then it goes black, and I don't know why. This is now turned into not fixing this fella up. It's now turned into how is my stream and capture card not working? It's a totally different stream than imagined. Back up now. I don't know why. And now it's gone black again. That is just ridiculous. Oh, they've gone and annoyed me now. XR1 RGB, is it? I believe it's an XR1. Yeah, just XR1. That's not the XR1 light. Alright, sorry, this is probably going to affect my stream for a bit. It has returned. And if it's what the forum says it is, I can tell you what's caused the issue. That logo there is copyrighted, and it's got a copyright detection thing built into it. What a load of my bollocks. Anyway, it's back up and running now, so hopefully you can see me and you can hear me now. So yeah, so we should have our Radeon software installed, which I'm not 100% au fait with, so let's open it up and see if we can do something with it. Performance. There should be a way of changing some settings around in this. Media capture, so that's our GPU, it's an RX 550, and that's our FX 8350, so all good on the drivers. Here we go. Snap settings, factory set perform issue, a bit Radeon software, graphics, anti-lag, image sharpening, no, enhance sync, no, wait for V-sync, no. There's nothing there you'd want to turn on, if I'm honest with you. Display. MB FreeSync not supported, which is lies. FreeSync is on this. GP scaling, integer scaling, HMI negative color depth pixel format, custom color hue, brightness, saturation, custom resolutions, overrides, display specs. Nope. Video. Performance. Preferences. There's nothing really in here I would play around with. I was hoping for something a little bit more robust than that. So right, into our useful tools we go. What image? The background image. The windows. The blue thing. That there. Okay, so we should now be able to do a little bit of benchmarking on this fella just to make sure that it's all up and running. So yeah, we should be fine. So I suppose the first thing is just to see how the CPU is performing. Actually, oh, I never installed it yet. We can use Afterburner. Let's go. So let's open up Afterburner. So what we want to look at just for this one is not the GPU temperature, we're just going to have a quick look at the CPU temperature, and we can detach this and make it bigger. So what we want to look for is the CPU temperature, so you don't need to know all of the core's temperature, just this one here. So as we're talking at the moment, it's it's like 12 degrees at the moment, so it's doing absolutely nothing. And yeah, Can see blue. Right. So yeah, if you can see here where it says CPU temperature, that's what we're looking at there. So CPU temperature at the moment is like 10 degrees. It's chill as fuck. It's open. It's got a big tower cooler on it. It's if I'm not mistaken, it's a 65 watt or 70 watt TDP. No, actually lies. 95 watt. 95 watt TDP. So it's doing nothing. So it's just idling. So that's what we're looking at. We're going to look at CPU temperature, and we're going to just whip open our Cinebench. So we'll run Cinebench, and we're going to see if we can absolutely kill this processor. So don't expect huge performance results from this. This is an old, it's an old meme, sir, but it checks out. This is obviously an older CPU, so that's the big concern is the age of the CPU. So all we really want to do is we want to just make sure that our temperatures are in check. So we'll just start a multi-core run, and we'll just keep an eye on CPU temperature. Usage should go up to 100%, but our temperatures, these are known to run toasty. So while that's running, if we can keep it at a reasonable temperature, we're more than fine. So as it stands at the moment, it's just like 32 degrees. So we'll let that run, and we'll see. Well, you can see all our CPU usage here is all at 100%, and while it's up there, you can see it's only getting up to 33 degrees. It shows you that's why the Cooler Master Hyper Evo 212 is just so recommended for that processor. It fits the IHS absolutely bang flat, and while you're running something that should absolutely stress the bejesus out of it, it runs super cool. That was the first CPU I bought a custom cooler for, which was the older Evo 212, which is the slightly smaller version of it, and it kept it nice and chill. That's why, it's how we knew it would work quite well. The updated version's a bigger one. The older one was a 90mm. That's like 120mm tower cooler on it. It just works really well with it. That's why it always annoys me when people say, "Oh, the old FX 8350s, they're so hot and you couldn't control them," and all this kind of Americans. Not like 25 quid cooler, job done. Yes, they weren't as powerful as an i5, but they were half the price of an i3, and they landed right in the middle performance-wise of an i3 and an i5 at the time. And that processor cost like 80 quid. It was a no-brainer back then. And if you're on a super tight budget, you can pick one of those bad boys up for about 20 quid on eBay. They're perfectly addable for esports titles and stuff like that. They're perfectly usable. So we'll let it do its magic. Yeah, just looking at there, we're CPU temperature, we're looking at 34 degrees on the package, while 100% being utilized. So just makes sense. It's just a good cooler with a meh processor. Yeah, how is this tipping along? We're nearly there, and how are we for temperature wise? 38 degrees. It's chill AF. It's gonna make me just a tiny bit smaller. Yeah, so the great thing about air coolers is, unlike a water cooler where for it to reach the actual equilibrium of temperature where it's fully heat soaked. You don't need to do that with an air cooler. Once it kind of has ran for a few minutes, it's as hot as it's ever going to get. So yeah, we're 38 degrees. It's running another run now as we speak. I don't think we need to do anything. I don't think we're going to actually learn anything by letting it run. It's absolutely reached what do they call it? It's reached its equilibrium, so it's not going to get any hotter. We could run that till the cows come home. So that is all 8 cores pegged for the past 10 minutes, and yeah, really good temps. So I think we're good enough that we can cancel this run. And we can stop it. Score wise, you can see where it fits there. It's not as high as other so we can do a single core as well, but there's no point. As I said, we're not trying to learn how fast the machine is. We know it's old, we know it's budget. Dining table. You can't see my dining table. Oh, the little table there. It's not a dining table, it's a coffee table. The dining table's over there. Oh, you're talking about the render. Yeah, that's Cinebench. That's a default image. That ain't mine. Right, so Cinebench R23 is a pass. As I said, it's super cool. That won't throttle until it hits up to like 90 degrees. It's running at 40 degrees. It ran for about 15 minutes. It's no bother. So I suppose the more fun part will be seeing how Unigine Heaven runs. So let's crank Heaven up to the max. We should be able to close that. So resolution, we'll run it at 1080. Quality medium, I suppose, given the type of card it is. And we have a DirectX 9, or a DirectX 11. Yeah, I think that'll do. We'll run it on medium, just see how it performs. We should get our benchmarking information up the top left from MSI Afterburner, and then also the frame counter for this. So let's just have a quick run and see how it's going to perform. So yeah, you can have a quick look top left hand corner, see how we're doing. I think we'll be alright. Yeah, I twigged it, Phoenix. I swear I twigged it eventually. Alright, so let's get the benchmark. So yeah, these are our MSI Afterburner numbers here, and then this is what it's actually recording here, so you can see how it's running. So yeah, GPU is pegged at 100%, which is what we thought would happen. CPU is running at 14 degrees Celsius, which is nice and cool. GPU is running at 49 degrees. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this, other than the fact you can see it's not exactly killing it with frames. But for esports titles, 1080p on low settings with high draw distance, which is what you would play Rocket League at or CSGO or that type of thing, I think you should be absolutely fine. So I reckon we could find a home for this for somewhere around 200 quid, and I reckon we'll have slightly made a tiny profit, and we can put that into this month's build, and we'll have some fun with that. I've already gotten some bargains for this month's build already. So yeah, we're just going to let this benchmark run. Once that's done, we're going to do some cable timing, maybe, or actually, first we'll see if we can push this graphics card just a tiny bit more to see if we can beat the benchmark on this. Once that benchmark is finished, we'll not really an overclock per se, but we'll see if we can optimize the card just to push it around performance. Then we'll take it apart. So we'll take the cable apart from the old 6-pin, seal her back up, and we'll get her posted up on eBay and on Facebook Market, see if we can find a home for her. Mute Heaven, it's loud. Oh. It's actually not moving yet. Because I'm not hearing Heaven at all. ridiculous. No audio. Loud noises. It's. I've only got one input device set. Right, can I mute this from here? I don't have a line in. It's coming to the HDMI then. Better? Right, we have to do a benchmark run again, but I've lowered it down, so it should be good now. Awesome. Yeah, apologies for that. Yeah, as I was saying, I didn't realize it actually is. Windows on this machine has picked up the HDMI as a sound device and is pumping sound through it, so that's why I can't hear it, but you guys could get full whack of it. So yeah, so I was like, where is the audio controls? Discard. So I was like, where are the audio controls for it? I was like, there's no audio, but we found it. So yeah, so the Jive here is the card itself is really designed for playing esports titles at 1080p, low settings, high draw distance. So for your Rocket Leagues, your CSGOs, your Rainbow Sieges, be absolutely fine. And as I said, we're looking at maybe about 200 quid, maybe 250 for this. We'll make a small profit on this guy and pump it into the next budget PC that we're going to build, and hopefully that'll be that one done. So I'm just glad that this is now up and actually running without issue, because it was just so annoying that it wasn't. But yeah, that's it. It's running fine. We're going to see if we can just get a teeny bit of more performance out of it without doing anything silly, because as I said, it's not me that's going to be using it, it's going to be somebody else. So if we can just improve it just a tiny bit for this person, just to get that 60 FPS experience on low settings, we should be happy. So how many scenes left? Oh, there's 12 more scenes to go. We're halfway there. Couple of little micro stutters. pen and paper's ready to take down what this benchmarking number was when it finishes. Yeah. High tech. Scrap of paper, pen. We finished now in a sec. It's the hardest scene actually for it to render. Right, so the score was to beat is 1033. That is the score to beat. We take down the min as well, sure. 17.7 and max FPS of 77.6. Again, card not really designed to be running 1080 medium. It's a low B. So let's close this bad boy down. Let's have a quick. Right, so have a quick look at what we can do here. So power limit, we could slide all the way up here. Should make a blind bit of difference. Heat wise, it's generating no heat. I'm not going to bother overclocking it. You reckon plus 50? Yeah, so we're just going to up the power limit by 50. Not going to do much. The 3D and give your Crimpass, yes. Believe it or not, Crimp. Believe it or not, I was thinking of doing the same. I was thinking of just to see how it performs. As if it's supposed to be 15% better than a 5900X, which is slightly better than mine in certain circumstances. I would be well up for possibly getting the 3D version of it and then probably give it to somebody. So yeah, I'm totally down for the apart from the name, it's absolutely terrible. 5800X 3D FX Voodoo 3500 plus is what I was calling it, messing, because it's just such a long name. You just call it like something easier. 6000 series. They're using 7000 for the next series because 6000 is out on mobile, which is Zen 3 Plus. They could call this Zen 3D but call it a 6000 series. Just be so much easier. So much easier. Stupid naming conventions. It is. It's a significant bump. Now, the thing is, do I need that bump as I'm speaking to you now? Probably not. I don't need that bump. The 5800X is more than ample. Run everything. But that's the last processor that's going to be released on AM4. So by getting that, it might expand the fact that I won't have to buy a new motherboard, new RAM, by an extra year or two. And that's the kind of thinking. Do I need it? No. But in 2 years' time, would it save me from having to upgrade my machine? It probably would. So I could probably try and find a second-hand one then, or I could just go, well, actually, you know what, the 5800X could go to my brother, my brother's 3600X could go to my sister, and then I'd have a 2600X that I could put into a build and sell to somebody. So that's also the thing as well, that when dealing with family and passing down, actually, you know what, that 2600X could go to Sweden and go into somebody else's machine. So, you know, that sort of way. Could do a circle with it. If I got the 5800X 3D, the 5800X could go to my brother. My brother's 3600 could replace my sister's 2600X. That 2600X could replace a 1600X in somebody's machine over in Sweden. Might make sense. And that way I wouldn't have to touch my machine for another 3-4 years. But we'll see. I like to tinker around with stuff. This is keeping me busy and stopping me from pumping real money into big machines. So we'll see. So yeah, so we've upped the power limit anyway on this bad boy by plus 50. So literally increasing the power limit does nothing. Power is drawn, not pushed. So by allowing it to increase its power limit, if it's within its thermal headroom and it's not doing anything silly, it will pull more power and it should keep its top megahertz for longer. It's all increasing the power limit does to a machine, unless you're playing New World. New World was breaking machines by doing this, which is weird because it's totally anti-intuitive. It was letting cards just fucking go up to like 3,000 frames and it was breaking them. So that's what was causing that. So there we go, that's our plus 50 power limit upscale, and we can go back into our Heaven benchmark. We have our original results scribbled down on a piece of paper, so we'll see how this goes. So we'll see how this goes. We know it's now working at stress test. It's stable. It's doing nothing silly. So yeah, we'll just see if this improves or reduces it. I have a sneaking suspicion it should improve it. Celsius. CPU has gone up to a whopping, was that 21 degrees? It's now 15. It's all well within spec. These things don't throttle until they hit up to 90 degrees. They're low powered. Well, CPU is high powered, is in power draw, but the GPU is, as I said, it's a low power draw GPU. It's designed for esports gaming. It should be absolutely fine. So yeah, I think we're happy with this. We're just gonna wait and see when this hits the 2016s, or compare it to the numbers that we scribbled down on a piece of paper earlier. See if we've got an improvement or not. If that's the case, then we'll just switch it up back to the top-down view. I'll remove the 6-pin power supply cable, or sorry, graphics card power supply, because that one doesn't need it. Seal it back up, and then that's ready to go up on Facebook Market. As I said, 250 quid. Ideal for the likes of your Minecrafts, your Rocket Leagues, CSGO, Rainbow Six Siege, the stuff that everyone bloody plays. Fortnite would be fine if you do competitive settings. Should get a good 60 frames. So yeah, kid wants to get into gaming and his dad doesn't want to spend fucking $2,000 on a machine. It should be fine. Plus it looks shit cool, in fairness. You can see the RGB going through it there. Because looks sell apparently. Can't put a clean machine together. If it's clean with no lights, nobody wants to buy it. And then yeah, that should bring us up to about 9 PM, which will call it a day then. 2 hours stream. I think that's fair. And then this time next week, then we'll do some real fun with some overclocking. See if we can kill my PC. Then I might have to buy a FX 800 3D because I've killed the processor that's in there. So we'll see. Could be fun. Could end up my wife giving it to me. Here we go. Last scene. Bang on, same score. So yeah, 1033, but big improvement. The minimum FPS, and this is where doing the power limit thing does. Minimum FPS has gone from 17.7 to 19.7, so we've improved our minimum frame rates, which is the ones you notice with the eyes, by 2 frames. And the max frames per second was 77.6%, or 77.6 frames per second initially. It's now up to 78.7. So we've now topped up at nearly 4 frames higher. So there you go. Moved the slider to 50, and we've improved the FPS exponentially. Well, small percentages, single digits. The only thing that's annoying me about this is you look at where it's boosting to. It's boosting to 1183, which is ridiculous. So I'm gonna have to do something to change that. That is just really annoying. Can't be selling a machine that boosts up to that. Let's quit this. Just a 24-hour stream when I'm awake most days for 24 hours. I very rarely sleep. I'm usually just awake somewhere there on the couch, half dead. Yeah, that is just super annoying. Let's see if we can fix that. Like, core clock. Who boosts to 1183? It's a much more reasonable boost. 1190. Here we go. We've set it to 1190. Is it worth one more run? Will we do one more? We'll do one more. Uno mas on Heaven. Last run of Heaven. Just to make sure that me upping it by 7 megahertz doesn't kill it. It won't kill it. Spoiler alert, it's fine. I won't boost up higher. What the fuck? Look at there at 1183. Oh, that's just annoying. Get me out of here. You have to be out of here. You slap you upside the head. MSI Afterburner. Can't be having that. Not having it. Not buying a bar of it. Yeah, look. Yeah, I'm not buying a bar of that at all. It should be able to boost much higher than that. You should be able to hit 1200 easy, but fuck it, we'll go 1200. Okay, 1 sec. There is a reset button there, isn't there? Plus 50. So yeah, let's set it to 12. One two zero zero 200. We'll fucking like it too this time. Right, it'll be liking it this time. There's still some boost to what I told it to boost to. Box it in the head. We've given it a whopping 17 megahertz overclock. There we go. Look, 1200 megahertz. Has to work now. Has to work. Has to beat that 1033 that we got previously. So yeah, we got the same score last time, but we upped the minimum frame by 2 frames and we upped the maximum frame by 4. We're going to look to destroy that with a tiny little overclock. Teeny tiny. Yeah, it's holding that 1200 easy. So right, let's go and benchmark it. Let's get her done. Look at it, it's holding that 1200 like a champ. We could go way higher if we wanted to. We're not going to, but we could. Like a fucking champ it is. I won't be pushing it. We're leaving it at 12. Just 12 even. It's a nice boost clock. Saying anything to anybody else. So yeah, hopefully this all works out now. This goes through, beats this stupid score here. Tidy cable, seal it back up. Off it goes onto Facebook bracket. We'll be grand. Too bad. It's what annoys me when people say, well, game is, it's out of reach, you can't afford it, you can't afford the latest stuff because scalpers are fucked up. But if you know what you're looking for, do a little bit of digging on eBay, you know what games you're looking to play and you don't try and go past that, you can perfectly playable frame rates for 200 quid. It's just the price of a monitor. Which means 200 quid is, again, it is all relative. If you haven't got 200 quid, then it's totally out of reach. But if you're looking for a machine and you're going, well, normally 600 quid to get you something like a game on. I can't game something on. I can't game on anything at all at the moment. I can't get a PC. Go second hand, get some pre-loved tech. Don't worry if it's not the latest and greatest. You can build onto it, especially if you go with like a Ryzen machine, because if you buy what's available and what's affordable now, you can slot in and out stuff and you get something much better. The monitor there that I'm using as well, that this is being captured off, is was my second monitor. The stand broke, the actual mounting stand broke, so that's now on its original stand. I mean, that was less than 100 quid. It's 75 hertz 1080p, so less than 100 quid. We say 200 quid on eBay. Keyboard a tenner. This is the best budget mouse you'll ever buy, by the way. This is by my go-to spare mouse, the Harpoon, the Corsair Harpoon. It's 20 quid. It's one of the nicest mice you'll ever use for 20 quid. It's not the same as my main mouse, which is its bigger brother, but the Harpoon is a deadly little mouse. It's 20 quid, 10 quid for a keyboard, if not less. You don't need anything spectacular. 200 quid, 100 quid, there you go. All in. Again, more so for college students or teenagers that are looking to get into gaming. People say it's not reachable, it's not affordable. because they think they need to have the $3,000 rig. And when I was in university, number one, tech wasn't available like that. But number two, it was like that's what you did. You second hand, strip out an OEM. The college had a skip. The university, should I say, I went to had a skip at the back where it was pegging out Pentium 3s into. We were going in there and pulling out the RAM and pulling out the motherboards out of that and throwing them into machines, and that's how we all started. There we go. So, score. We have upped it from 1033 to 1077. Our minimum frame rate has gone up by 4 frames from the original. Sorry, the original was 1770, so that's gone up to 21, so 22 frames. So that's a 5 frame improvement. And then our max frame was 77.6, it's now 82.8. There you go. Tiny little tweak. We've got a bit of extra performance using MSI Afterburner. Nothing fucking weird to do. 2 sliders, max up the power limit, and just rounded up the clock speed because it was at 1183. Like, why would you even? So that is done. This is literally ready to sell now. So let's quit out of this fella. It's just a couple of tidy up bits to do. So we'll get her tidied. And then we'll get this fella up on Facebook Market. Now, let's change scene. Ta-da! Right, let's check how our phone is doing. Yep, that's fine. Let's move our